Okay, so we got a headline here. Trump supporters aggressively challenge Stein recount efforts in 3 states. The article will be linked down below, and I think this is interesting. I haven't seen too much reporting on this, but it is something that is going a little bit under the radar. It is still being talked about, but not that much. So, basically, there are these PACs, PACs there's Trump supporters, and they are basically hiring lawyers and filing lawsuits in the states of I think in Wisconsin it's already underway, and I don't think they're actually going to be able to do anything, but I think it's hardest in Pennsylvania and Michigan, I think. So um I think that it is very interesting, right? It's very controversial. So first of all, I'd like to get into the background of the situation. So here we got a quote from Washington Post, quote, supporters of President-elect Donald Trump are moving aggressively to challenge Green Party presidential candidate Joe Stein's push for a recount in 3 states, filing legal challenges and criticizing the effort as quixotic and ill-conceived. Okay, so now you could kind of understand where they're coming from, right? It is kind of questionable as to why Jill Stein, the person who came in fourth, would file a recount unless it was for Hillary to win, because obviously Hillary was the only closest person. But I even though I don't believe it, with all of the people saying how there's, maybe we're Russians, hacking or whatever stuff like that. People can actually jump on the bandwagon like that. Plus, we don't know what kind of shit Hillary's doing, to get her way and what she wants. So that's one thing. All right. Now, also you can also understand the other side, right? Because actually first let me get into another quote here. Quote, in Wisconsin, where Trump defeated Clinton by 1 percentage point, a recount is underway. But Great America PAC and Stop Hillary PAC, both pro-Trump groups, said Friday that they had filed the legal challenge a day earlier in federal court in conjunction with the Wisconsin voter to stop the new count. Stein's team said Friday that it will fight the challenge. Okay, so first of all, this is going to be under the pretense that the recount is actually legitimate, and it's not also that it is also not cheated. If the regular one was cheated, if you find that out, we don't really know for sure, right? Even though all sources say that the reality is that there was actually no malicious activity going on. But the point here is that the fact that they're trying to just like shut down the recount and just kind of run away with their win right now, I feel is kind of hypocritical, because I also criticize Hillary Clinton for doing the same type of maneuver in her campaign towards the end, where everyone thought she was going to win and stuff like that. So like the day before, how the FBI director came out and said, oh, like there's too many emails, we can't go through it all. So I said, hey, you're literally holding the presidency because you're saying, oh, I may have committed a crime, but they don't have enough time to investigate the evidence, so either way I'm still going to win the presidency. Like that's a sad maneuver to try and like push time away to prevent defense and get it quickly, right? I feel like they're doing the same thing here. Also, another point, if you truly did win the election and it's going to be again under the pretense that it's a fair recount, why are you worried? Why are you not worried that, hey, I thought you were the motherfucker saying it was rigged? Trump came out saying it was rigged, so how did he win? All right, maybe it was rigged in his favor, I get. Okay, anyways, so he was saying it's rigged, so why would you guys not want a recount? I don't understand. It's just validating what happened under the presumption that it is a legitimate recount. So that's something else that I don't understand. That's a suspicion I have. So I have suspicion of both sides, right? But I say get the recount going, because if it truly validates what happened, then it doesn't change anything. We are just validated in knowing what we have. So, okay, anyways, another quote here. Quote, even with the heroic efforts by state and local elections officials involved in the recounts, as well as expeditious review by this court, Stein's proposed process will last weeks, perhaps even months. Either way, her request puts Pennsylvania at grave risk of having not certified its presidential electors by December 13th, the deadline for doing so, says the filing. So basically, we're in a complete mess, and the dates are going to get pushed back real hard with these recounts because they can't do the recounts fast enough. And the electors have to vote in December, I think like the 19th, somewhere around there. So I think that this is a huge mess, and honestly, this election just seems to be the nightmare that really never seems to, for some reason, end. But I say let the recount go on under the presumption that it's legitimate. Make sure the recount is legitimate. If it's legitimate and it comes out with different results or it comes out with the same result, that just means that we're either getting validated or the proof is showing otherwise. So both sides I think are being hypocritical in one way or another, but I think that the recount should go because it should validate it with all of the concerns that we have. So, yeah.